the idea of taking potentially thousands and thousands of cars off the road and putting people on public transportation is a tremendous environmental impact. And I don't have to talk to you. Look, I was born and raised in Queens, and now I'm raising my 2 kids here. The asthma rates are pretty bad right now. I'm not just thinking about my kids and their asthma rates as we keep putting cars on the road and people sitting on Queensway Boulevard. How do you think that impacts our beach? Someone saw the light.
It's not by choice. It's because the A train, the only mass transit available, takes them there. After 9/11, however, many jobs have permanently moved to Manhattan, are expected to grow on the far west side. It's unfair to restrict thousands upon thousands of people to a declining job market. Jobs are not confined to Manhattan. There are many in Queens, but mobility is hindered by the Great Green Barrier, Forest Park and the cemetery, which splits the boroughs in half and forces people to go to Manhattan to traverse their own borough. Because of this, many Queens jobs are out of reach. The Rockaway line would cut through the Great Green Barrier, bring both sections of the borough closer together, and facilitate intra-borough mobility. Today, our young men and women from the Rockaways need 2 hours to get to Queens College, slightly less for LaGuardia and York, because they have to travel to Manhattan. The Rockaway line would reduce their commute from 2 hours to 45 minutes.
And we've gone from a 40-minute commute to a 1 hour and 45-minute commute. Access to shopping. We now bring our dollars, unfortunately, to Nassau County. If we had a way to get up Woodhaven Boulevard, because I work in Queens, I first in Jamaica and now Forest Hills. If we had a way to get up to Woodhaven Boulevard in less than an hour, we would see people going up to Woodhaven Boulevard into Forest Hills rather than out to Nassau County. And we love people coming to our beaches. We love sharing. One of the best places on the face of the earth with everyone. Wouldn't it be nice for you to be able to, as Queens residents, to get on the Rockaway Beach branch and have a very pleasant ride out to the beach and not have to worry about parking or paying the illegal toll that separates our borough. We have tremendous surfing beaches. In fact, we had the first surfing beach in Rockaway that was approved in New York City, and it has grown tremendously. We now have a second surfing beach. We have new parks. Scholars Academy. We have many children coming from mainland Queens out to Scholars Academy.
Because you never get into your car at certain times of the day. You don't even think about it. 4 o'clock? Oh, I'm not moving my car. 8:30 in the morning? No way. You wait until the rush is over. I'm 60. I learned that lesson 45 years ago. I mean, the congestion on the Van Wyck is legendary. They talk about it in Germany. Okay? Cross Bay is getting to that point where they're going to talk about that as well. The Belt Parkway, what a disaster. And some of the most valuable real estate in this country is within walking distance of a train station.
Back in 2007, there was a wonderful gentleman, and he was here, named Jordan Sankey and a friend, Tom Ciafolo, both avid bikers who were riding around, and if anyone bicycles in Queens, they know how dangerous it is. And they found this old abandoned rail and said, wow, this would be amazing. Time wasn't right, and then the High Line happened. So we found that there were many of us from north to south, all along the line, that had the same idea.
In the 1880s, a portion of the Rockaway Beach branch was opened. In 1950, there was a trestle fire on the Jamaica Bay portion of it, which forced its closing south of Ozone Park. The city of New York actually acquired a portion of the southern portion of the line in hopes of connecting the A train out to the Rockaways. The Long Island Railroad closed the line. In 1969, the city of New York approved plans for the White Pot Junction Express, which was basically going to be an express train directly from Penn Station out to JFK. 1975, citing a very significant increase in the cost and reduction in ridership projections, the MTA and Port Authority agreed to decided that it probably was not worthwhile continuing with that project. And then in 1997, when the City and State and Port Authority were studying the air training, they did a fairly thorough review of the revitalizing the Rockaway Beach branch and determined that for many, many reasons, including the impacts to the adjacent properties, the fact that the logistics would cause a slowdown of trains running east and west on the main line, they decided that it was not the right route to go and decided to create the air train that it is now.
Back in 1993, a rail line in Paris was taken, a rail line in Paris ended at what was called the Bastille Station. It was knocked down and the Bastille Opera was created. What was left was basically this beautiful arched viaduct that was basically in disrepair and completely unused. It was a rail line. The French government, the city of Paris, took it over and decided that they were going to make something out of it and make something that was really going to be an asset and an amenity to the community. And so what they did is they created something called the Promenade Plantée and given over to artisans and artists and restaurants so that that whole community could basically benefit from these young startup businesses that then would take and occupy those spaces and basically improve and make it a destination. I think you're all familiar with this. In 2011, next, it generated over $2 billion in economic stimulus and improvements to the neighborhoods, and private investment, and 12,000 jobs that surround the park. And there are different neighborhoods to this line that all have their different characteristics. In this case, first, we have earth embankments. Next slide. Earth embankments that could, as in this case, this is as an example, at the Little League at Fleet Street, which many of you are familiar with. And there are opportunities, go back. There are opportunities to create, go back, no, go forward. Opportunities to create, embankment bleachers, so that basically, as part of this embankment, it becomes not just a path, but it becomes the way that you enjoy the Little League games.
The idea of transportation? Whoever came up with such a stupid idea of going from one place to another? You guys have never been to Forest Park, or Alley Pond Park, or Cunningham Park.
But it also offers a wonderful opportunity to commute by bicycle or by foot.
The Greenway made a serious mistake in confusing a park out in Queens with like a High Line or what's going on in Jersey City, where these areas are in a central business district and places that would attract people.
How many of you believe that Rockaway, Far Rockaway, or Rockaway, the Peninsula of Rockaway, is in the borough of Queens? We have no access to anything else.
The MTA estimates that the east side access will serve 160,000 people. Do you have any estimates of how many people would use a revived Rockaway Bridge? Based on both presentations, neither a walkway or a railway goes to Far Rockaway, where your mother's from. Goes to Rockaway, pardon me, where your mother's from. If those people have to take a subway to get to the Long Island Railroad, that's another $104 a month at current rates, which means you'd be paying $270 to $300 a month to get to work. And I'm just curious, how many people are going to be able to do that?
I think that we need reliable and affordable rail. I didn't say railroad. Look, I agree with you. I mean, to pay $10 a trip on Long Island Railroad, I think is a little excessive. So I think that we'd have to develop a way in which to do that. But, look, Queens is a borough of 2.3 million people, okay? If we were our own city, we'd be the fourth largest, in the country. Let's get people to the boardwalk. We've got a gorgeous boardwalk. And I'd love to put bikes on it. And Parks, I believe, is already developing a plan to put bike paths on the boardwalk. That's fantastic. We've already got it. If we build this, we don't have to build another bike path. We just get a train that can get people to Rockaway in a very short amount of time.
Do you have any estimates of how many people would use it, though?
Okay, like I said, I think there are 2.3 million people in Queens. We're talking about a city of 8 million people. Talking about what's the best thing for the entire borough, I couldn't tell you how many people are going to get on and get off.
on the Greenway. First of all, how many people use it? Rockaways currently have 5 express buses, actually 10 express buses that we fought for, that we pay $6 each way each day. So yeah, there are people that are going to use it. And just the fact that you're looking to service people, but look at all the service. Bikers, yeah, I bike everywhere. I can't bike to Manhattan.
Just to pick up, is that this, and I think the Assemblyman said, you know, this is not just about Rockaway, this is about Queens. And I think what we have to remember is the impact that a train would have on over 240 residents who live in and around the current right-of-way, and the impact on those people. 270,000.
Now, let's go to the Federal Transportation Administration facts. The average commute is 29 miles round trip. Show me one bicycle person who does 29 miles a day to and from work. We need mass transit, and we need to have more people in the cars.
The trains are getting noisier and noisier. I would like to know how they justify destroying the neighborhoods all along the way so that Rockaway can have an easy commute. Now, the people of Rockaway could find other solutions, couldn't they? Couldn't they send a subway line or something? Plus the fact there is no money for this reactivation of this Rockaway line at the present time.
I think the answer to that is simple. We're all picturing this tremendous locomotive that's going to come barreling through our homes. Look, people in Bayswater, they live right under the trains. And number 2, that comes with a cost. Living in New York City is great, but I live under the flight plan, I live under plane, people live near trains, and the fact is, we do it because it's a great city and we love living here.
Hold on one second. When we had the railroad that ran there, it was a nice little choo-choo train. Trains now, I go to a Tennis Club, I'm a school member. The trains are so noisy, it is horrendous. And they get noisier and noisier. They have been better than that.
River Boulevard is ridiculous. 300,000 more people are going to be living in Queens over the next 10 years. What is your solution? If you come with a solution, what is your solution for the traffic on the Vanderbilt? And what is your solution on the traffic on Woodhaven Boulevard?
But you're making a presumption. You're making a presumption that rebuilding the Rockaway Beach Branch Greenway is going to alleviate all of this congestion. That's as much as a presumption as saying that building a greenway is going to take away opportunities for new mass transit issues facing parts of Queens that do not have access to mass transit. So, to say that this is the magic bullet, I don't think any of us can say that. What we're saying is that not that the Rockaways aren't underserved, because they are. It's an isolated peninsula. It always has been. What we're saying is that revitalizing or rebuilding damage all the areas that we're looking at a flyover.
But those who are most opposed already have a 40-minute commute to Manhattan. Those people in Forest Hills already have a railroad going to Midtown Manhattan. The rest of Southern Queens doesn't have that. And that's something that we deserve.
I understand that the arguments are pretty balanced. Everybody needs to have a commute and needs to have a way to get around. I'm good with that. I 100% disagree with you regarding trains and whether or not, just because there's a dead train line behind your house, you think you're going to want a train going through it. Back in the day, they had trains. They probably weren't half as long as they are now. I actually live up against the train track now. I moved there about 4 months ago, for whatever reason. I'm ready to move. Okay? When I can, I'm gone. And I'll tell you what, those people in Hampton Beach, Whenever they got sick of it, they moved too, somebody else moved in for whatever reason, and they're gonna keep on doing it. So fun. But the reality here is, the problem is more than just having a commute. Okay, you put that commute line in there, okay, that's gonna alleviate part of your problem. The other part of your problem, you've already mentioned. One of your population growth has gone from 101,000 to 135,000 or so, plus or minus. What, if this money goes in, are you also going to do something about your building planning and all of that in order to address those kinds of things? The other part of it is, the Greenway would give a lot of us a way to do family-oriented things that we can't do. I have a 9-year-old son I'm trying to teach to ride a bike and go through all that. I have to take him through the streets to get to Forest Park to be able to ride for 15 minutes through that little loop. It's a big park, but it ain't that big when you're trying to ride a bike, okay? So, again, if we go to a train, are you gonna also build in something for bike lanes in a way that we can have safe routes to be able to do things with families as well? It's the community that you're talking about. The community has family needs, and it has business needs and community needs.
2 more questions. Please make them quick and to the point.
Okay, this argument has been somewhat painful because I believe that those who favor better mass transit and those who favor bicycle paths and hiking are on the same side. We're on the side of environmentalism, we're on the side of better atmosphere, and these are two ideas that can work together. From the earliest that I was working on the plans for the Rockaway Beach line, we were talking about having walkways, greenways, someone was calling it permaculture, would be along the sides of the right-of-way. There is room in most of the areas along the right-of-way to have enough room for bicycle paths, for hiking trails, for little nature areas, and so on. This land is all going to waste right now. There is no reason that this can't be used in both of them. What we should be doing is working together to see in a few places where the right-of-way goes over a narrow bridge, have something additional be put in there. Would there be a ramp for bicycles go down and go up? There are some issues that have to be done with, and we should be moving on to that kind of thing. People have to go to work and come home is one thing. For most people, the bicycles will be recreation. Hiking will be recreation. Few people from Central Queens are walking into Manhattan.
So your question is how can both be done at the same time?
I'll ask them to stay in the Greenway if they would work to try to solve those problems and see that everyone comes out of here happy and we have a winner for everyone in Queens.